then if you want to sit on a pillow to begin, just to kind of raise your hips up a little bit higher, you can do that. And if you're sitting with your legs crossed, we're going to start with your right leg in front of your left leg. So you have a little bit of this stagger stance going on. And you can put one foot over the other, or just kind of let that foot rest on the floor. And we'll begin with your eyes closed and just breathing. So just inhaling and exhaling, kind of just getting in touch with your body in a state of rest as we begin today's practice. Just kind of feel the air going down into your lungs, and maybe notice how deep your breath goes when you're just breathing normally. Maybe bring your attention to the exhale. What sound does your exhale make? What happens to your body when you exhale? What does it feel like on the inside? And maybe bringing your attention to the temperature of the air and the quality of the air as you're breathing in. So what does it feel like when it first hits the inside of your nose? And it's in the process of bringing your attention to all of these little tiny physicalities with something as ordinary as breathing, that you bring your mind into your body's time, which is always in the present. So bring a little bit more intention into your breath, so inhaling your spine a little bit taller, and then as you exhale, you begin to draw your belly button in towards your spine and up towards your heart, so you're pushing all the air out of your lungs. And just see how that changes your posture in a sitting position. And then we'll begin linking movement with breath, so inhaling, reaching both hands up over your head. And then exhale, reaching your fingers out to the sides, metering your breath so your lungs are empty by the time your fingers find the floor, and pushing out all the air at the bottom. Then inhale, raising both hands back up towards the sky. And sipping in a little bit more at the top. And then exhale, reaching your fingertips out to the sides again until your lungs are empty and your fingers find the floor. One more time, inhaling, reaching both hands up to the sky. And then from here, we're going to drop your right hand down by the side and reach your left arm over your head. So you're bending at the right elbow and extending your left fingertips across your body, head towards the opposite wall. Kind of rolling that left shoulder blade over the right so your heart is to look up towards the ceiling, taking a deep breath. And then on the exhale, pushing off the floor, coming back up to center. And then dropping your left hand down by the side, bending at the elbow and extending your right arm over your head, rolling your right shoulder blade over the left so your heart's looking up towards the ceiling. Taking a deep breath. On the exhale, going back up to center. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Inhaling, raising both hands up. And then exhale, folding over at the waist into an easy forward fold. So using your hands to support you here, just letting your head drop down towards the floor as you kind of walk your fingertips out in front of you. And breathe in deeply and exhale completely. Slowly walking both hands over to the right side, just about as far as feels comfortable, and taking a deep breath. And then on the exhale, soften over your right leg. And whenever you're ready, slowly walking both hands over to the left side. So you drape your heart over your left leg, taking a deep breath with a long exhale. And one more time, coming back towards center. And then walking yourself all the way back up. Inhale, reaching both hands up over your head. Exhale, hands down by your sides. So now we're going to switch that front foot. So we're going to bring your left foot in front of the right. And just change that placement of your ankles. And then inhaling, reaching both hands up. Exhaling, dropping your right hand down by the side, reaching your left arm over your body. Feel that stretch through your hip flexor. Squeezing back up towards center. Dropping your left hand down by the side, reaching your right arm over your body. Rolling your right shoulder blade over left so your heart gets to look up towards the ceiling. Taking a deep breath. On the exhale, squeezing back up towards center, both hands come to the sky. And then folding over at the waist into an easy forward fold. Just kind of walking your fingertips out. Maybe you notice this feels a little bit different than the other side with one foot in front of the other. And just breathing into it, appreciating that difference for all the wonderful different things your body has to offer. And then slowly walking both hands over to the right side, about as far as feels comfortable. Taking a deep breath, long exhale, draping your body over your right thigh. And if you're ready, walking both hands over to the left side. Again, just about as far as feels good. Taking a deep breath and then soften over your left leg. One more time, coming back towards center. Letting your forehead drop down all the way to the floor. And then using your hands to push you back up and making your way all the way back onto hands and knees on your mat. So with your fingertips spread wide under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, we're going to inhale to look up, dropping your belly down towards the ground, and then exhale, curving your spine up towards the ceiling for cat and cow. Moving at your own breath here. Just kind of feeling each vertebrae sliding over the other one as you warm up the muscles in your lower back, upper spine. When I talk to people about doing yoga, everyone thinks you got to do all this crazy stuff like balances and arm balances, or maybe find enlightenment, but really it's just combining movement with breath, building that connection with your body, and all that other stuff like enlightenment and doing impressive things comes later, if you're lucky. So I'll take one or two more breaths. And then we'll meet in a nice neutral spine. You're pushing your heart away from the floor. You're going to reach your right arm out in front of you, right biceps in line with your right ear. And then flexing your abs, so you're drawing your belly button up towards your spine. And then pushing your left heel straight back away from you. So you're making your body like a long line. Nice, Jim. Extend that left foot back just a hair further. Good. Taking a breath, and then on the exhale, connect elbow to knee under your body. Inhale, extend, reaching out really far. Exhale to connect. Inhale to extend. Exhale to connect. One more time, reaching out. And coming back onto all fours. Take a second to resettle. And then reaching your left arm out in front of you, left biceps in line with your left ear. And pushing your right heel straight back behind you. Taking a deep breath. Then on the exhale, connect elbow to knee under your body. Inhale to extend, reaching and pushing as far as you can. Exhale to connect. Inhale to extend. Exhale to connect. Inhale to extend. One more time making the connection. One more time reaching out. and coming back onto all fours. Bring your knees out to either side of the mat with your big toes together. We're going to press your bum all the way back into child's pose. So walking your fingertips out in front of you, letting your forehead drop down towards the floor, and taking in a few breaths and just kind of noticing where the breath goes. Here we're going to walk both hands over to the right side, just a little bit until you feel that stretch across your left lat, your left side of your body. And then take your gaze underneath your left armpit. Smell your left armpit. Smells like Wednesday. Slowly walking both hands all the way over to the right side. Again, just as far as feels good, so you feel that stretch across your right lat, your right side body. Take a look underneath your right armpit. Walking both hands back to center. And reaching your fingertips out as far in front of you as you can. And then curling under your toes to come into first downward dog of the day. Or I should say it's my first downward dog of the day. I don't know if you guys have been doing downward dogs earlier. For this first downward dog, you can pedal your heels, you can shake your head, you can roll your hips. You can pretty much do whatever you want to kind of get that assessment in your body. See where you're at physically, see what feels tight, see what feels strong. And creating a little pedaling motion with your feet, we're going to slowly walk your feet all the way towards your hands until we find ourselves into an easy forward fold. Just letting your head and your arms relax down here. Maybe wiggle your butt side to side like you're trying to get someone's attention, but like a lazy sort of attention, like half-hearted attention. And then bending at the knees, curling one vertebrae at a time, all the way up to standing. Inhale, reaching both hands up over your head. And then exhale, hands down by your sides. Inhale, reaching both hands up. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. We're going to bend at the knees and walk yourself all the way out into your plank. So for the first chaturanga, we'll lower down knees, chest and chin, all the way onto your belly, keeping your elbows tight into your sides, and then pressing the tops of your feet into the floor, raising your heart up off the mat into baby cobra. So drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Hands could come off the mat if they wanted to. And then pressing off your hands and knees all the way back into child's pose. So for the rest of the class, you can do that variation for your sun salutations. I'll show you the next one in a minute. Pressing your fingertips into the floor and curling under your toes, we'll come back into your downward facing dog. So I'm holding it with a little bit more intention. So pressing your heels down to the floor and squeezing your quads so the backs of your knees are pushing towards the wall behind you. Keeping your neck loose and relaxed. 2 more breaths here. And on the exhale, walk or jump your feet forwards into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, flattening along your spine. And then exhale, folding down a little bit deeper. And then inhale, leading with the heart, floating all the way up to standing, raising both hands up over your head. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Inhale, raising both hands up. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. And then exhale, walking yourself out into your plank. And either taking knees, chest, chin, or full high to low push-up, chaturanga. Inhaling to your baby cobra, or upward facing dog. So for the upward dog, you're resting on the tops of your feet and you're pulling your heart forwards, drawing your shoulder blades back together. Curling over your toes to come into your downward facing dog. Keeping your fingertips pressing firmly into the floor and lengthening your spine so your tailbone is reaching high up towards the ceiling. And the backs of your knees are pushing towards the wall behind you, so you're squeezing at the quads, pushing your heels down to the floor. Take long yoga breaths like we did in the beginning of the class, and long exhales. 2 more breaths here. On the exhale, looking in between your hands, walk or jump forwards, back into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, so just flattening along your spine. Exhale, fold down a little bit deeper. Then inhale, coming all the way up to standing, raising both arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Cool, so we're going to do one more sun salutation. Inhale, raising both hands up. Exhale and fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. And then exhale, walking yourself out into your plank and taking whichever form of chaturanga you prefer, knees, chest, chin, or high to low push-up. Inhale into baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then curl over your toes into your downward facing dog. Cool. From here, we're going to press your fingertips into the mat and raise your right foot up behind you, pretty much as high as you can. And then open up at the hip to drop your right heel down towards your bum. Just kind of roll that right ankle, wiggle your toes. And then looking in between your hands, stepping your right foot through into a low lunge. So pausing here for a runner stretch. Giving a little rock front and back. And pushing out from your left heel, straightening that left leg, that back leg. Just kind of seeing how that changes the stretch in your left hip flexor. Planting your left hand down into the floor, keeping that back leg really strong. We're going to roll your right hand up to the sky, roll your right shoulder blade over the left. Give a little peace sign to the world, because why not? Then on the exhale, bring that right hand back down towards the mat, and dropping your back heel down to the ground at about a 45-degree angle, and then leading with the heart to float up into your warrior one. Cool. So reaching your pinkies up towards the sky, Jim. Sinking your shoulders down away from your ears. And driving that right knee forwards to pull your right hip back and left hip forwards, like you're screwing the lid on a jar. Beautiful. Nice, Charlie. Keep extending your fingers up just a hair higher. There you go. 2 more breaths here. And then opening up into your warrior two, reaching both arms out in front of the other. And just taking a moment to see that the heel of your front foot is in line with the arch of your back foot. And then driving that right knee forwards, coming into the pose just a little bit deeper. As you inhale, your spine gets taller. As you exhale, you reach just a little bit further. So your arms are truly active and engaged. You're dropping your back hand to your back leg, reaching your top arm over your head behind you to come into peaceful warrior. Now this left hand can kind of prop on your left thigh to give you a little bit of support as you reach that hand behind you, or you can wrap that left arm around your lower back to find your right hip crease. 2 breaths here. And then on the exhale, bring your right elbow to your right knee and reach your left arm out over your head towards the front of the room as you roll your left shoulder blade over the right. And your heart gets to look up towards the ceiling. Keeping that front knee bent and very strong, we're going to reach that bottom arm underneath to grab onto your giant golden orb of happiness. Extend it up towards the ceiling into the back of the room. Reach it towards the front of the room as far as you can, like you're going to pass it to someone. Just doesn't want to take it. Bring it up into the back of the room again. And then cartwheel both hands down either side of your front foot. Walk yourself out into your plank and take whichever form of chaturanga you prefer. Knees, chest, chin, or high to low push-up. Inhale into baby cobra or upward facing dog. And then curl over your toes into downward facing dog. Just pausing here for a moment to see the difference between one leg to the other after doing that little warrior sequence. And then putting all the weight to your right foot, raising your left foot up behind you, and then opening up at the hips to drop your left heel down towards your bum. Rolling your left ankle, wiggling your left toes. And then stepping your left foot through in between your hands for a low lunge. Runner stretch. Pausing there for a moment, just giving a little rock front and back. Stretching out that right hip flexor. And then planting your right hand down into the mat. We're going to roll your left arm up to the sky, rolling your left shoulder blade over the right. And you're doing all this stuff with your left arm, and that's great. You're having a great time, but your back leg wants to stay really straight. You want to keep pushing that right heel down towards the ground behind you to keep that stretch in your right hip flexor engaged. Give a peace sign, because why not? And then on the exhale, bring that left hand back down towards the ground. And dropping your back heel down to the mat at about a 45-degree angle. And then leading with the heart to float all the way up into your warrior one. Good, squaring off your hips to the front of the room. Reaching both fingers up as high to the ceiling as you can. Nice, Jamie. Two more breaths here. And then opening up into warrior two, reaching both hands out in either direction. Just pausing for a moment to see that your heel of your front foot is in line with the arch of your right foot. And then driving that left knee forwards to reach your arms out in either direction. As you inhale, your spine gets a little bit taller. As you exhale, kind of like flex your abs. Dropping your back hand down towards your back leg, and then reaching your top arm over your head behind you as you drive your left knee forwards a little bit more. And that right arm can prop on your right leg, or you can wrap your hand around your lower back. Find that hip crease. On the exhale, bring your left elbow to your left knee, reaching your right arm out over your head, and then rolling your right shoulder blade over the left, so your heart gets to look up towards the ceiling again. And keeping that front leg bent, very strong. You're going to reach your bottom arm underneath to grab onto your big ball of joy. Extend it up to the ceiling towards the back of the room. Reach it towards the front of the room, passing as far forwards as you can. One more time up into the back of the room. And then cartwheel both hands down, either side of your front foot. Walk yourself out into your plank, and whichever form of chaturanga you prefer. Inhale into upward dog or baby cobra. And then exhale into your downward dog. Looking in between your hands. Walk or jump your feet forwards back into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Exhale, fold down a little bit deeper. Then inhale all the way to standing, raising both arms up to the sky. And glitter fingers all the way down to the ground. Cool. From here, we're going to step your right foot back about 2 feet. So you have a little bit of space in between them, all around. And if you have a block or a prop that you like to use for intense leg stretch, you can get it set up now. We're going to bring your hands to your hips and find that little bone there. That's your iliac crest. And you can kind of swish a little bit to find what is a neutral hip placement and what feels square. So from here, we're going to inhale, lengthen out through your spine, And then exhale, folding over at the waist, keeping your back as straight as can be as we come down into intense leg stretch. So once you can't go any further, you're like, okay, this is great. I'm getting a good stretch through my left hamstring. You can release your hands and curl over your spine, letting your forehead drop down towards your left knee. Inhale deeply and exhale completely. And we'll hold here for 5 more long, slow, deep breaths. And as you take in these big inhales, long exhales, just kind of let your upper body soften over your legs. So you're trying to keep your legs as straight as can be. Two more breaths. And then on an exhale, walking your fingertips forwards, putting all the weight into your left foot. You're going to raise your right foot all the way up behind you, pushing your right heel as high up towards the ceiling as you can. Nice, Jim. Keep that right leg straight as it pushes up towards the ceiling. Good. So by pushing your heel up, it kind of straightens that leg for you, so you don't have to squeeze from the quad. 2 more breaths here. Then on the exhale, bring your right foot down behind your left, so your pinky toes are touching. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head, flattening your back. And then exhale, folding down into your sciatic stretch. So using the support of the floor or your legs to find a point where you're getting a good beneficial stretch, but nothing should really hurt here. Sliding your hands up your legs and interlacing your fingers behind your back. You're going to pull your knuckles up towards the ceiling and then over your head towards the front of the room. Then leading with the heart to float all the way up to standing, pulling your knuckles down to the floor behind you. Releasing your hands. If you have any sparkles in your vision, you can let the sparkles kind of disappear. Then we're going to draw your right foot up into tree pose. So for tree pose, we can either put your right heel on your left ankle, roll your knee out to the side, put the arch of your foot on your calf, or all the way up into your inner thigh. Once you find your tree position, bring your hands into a prayer in front of your heart and focus your gaze on your drishti. That's something that doesn't move. So as you inhale, you get a little bit taller. As you exhale, kind of like push your left foot into the floor. Opening up the branches of your tree and sinking your shoulders down away from your ears. Nice, Charlie. Keep reaching those fingers up just a little bit higher as you draw your shoulder blades down, so you got like that dual push and pull system going on. And then on an exhale, bring your hands and feet down to the floor. Shake loose. Dance it out for a second. So from here, we're going to step your left foot back about 2 feet and prepare for intense leg stretch on the other side. So you have a little bit of space in between your feet like that, a little space in between your feet like that. Finding your hips, those hip bones. Inhale, lengthen up through your spine. And then as you exhale, leading with the heart and folding down into your intense leg stretch. So for this first part, we're keeping your back straight to really stretch out that right hamstring. And then once you can't go any further, you can curl over your spine, let your forehead drop down, let your arms drop down to find support. Wherever you find support. We all find support in different places. Inhale fully and exhale completely. And as you exhale, you're just letting your upper body soften over your right leg. Keeping your head loose and relaxed. We'll hold here for a total of 5 more breaths. You're just kind of keeping the attention on your breath. How deep does your breath go here? How does your breath change the stretch? And then leading your hands forwards, putting all the weight to your right foot. We're going to let your left heel float up towards the ceiling as high as you can for needle pose as you try and kiss your right kneecap. Nice, Jim. Again, push that heel out just a hair further. Good. Now push that heel away from you. You kind of straighten your leg and squeeze from the left buttock to raise that heel up higher. 2 more breaths here. Good, and then on the exhale, bringing that left foot down behind your right so your pinky toes are touching. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, and then exhale, folding down into your sciatic stretch. Again, finding support on the floor or your legs to make this stretch as beneficial as can be, but not painful. Releasing your fingers behind your back. You're going to pull your knuckles up to the ceiling and then over your head towards the front of the room, opening up your shoulder girdle. And then leading with the heart to float all the way up to standing, pulling your knuckles down to the floor behind you. Good. Pausing for a moment, let any sparkles disappear. And then releasing your hands. Whoa, sparkles. And then drawing your left foot up into tree pose, finding whichever variation is right for you. So taking your time to get there, as long as that knee is out to the side, like you're tucked in between 2 panes of glass. And once you find your position, bring your hands into a prayer in front of your heart and focus your gaze on your drishti, that thing that doesn't move. As you inhale, you get a little bit taller. As you exhale, you're kind of like pushing that right foot down into the floor. Nice, opening up the branches of your tree, sinking your shoulders down away from your ears. And then glitter fingers down to the ground, feet come down to the ground. I mean, hands don't go down to the ground, but they go by your sides. Standing back front and center on your mat. You're going to inhale, raising both hands up towards the sky. And then exhale to fold down into your forward fold. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of your head. And then exhale, walking yourself out into your plank and pausing at the plank. Pushing your heels away from you and the crown of your head in front of you and your heart away from the floor so your shoulders are really strong and engaged. And then rolling over your toes, coming all the way back into your downward facing dog. And we're going to raise your right heel all the way up behind you. And float your right knee to your right elbow, hovering above the ground, making that connection. Good. Send it straight back up behind you. Bring your right knee to your left elbow, crossing your midline, making that connection. Send it straight back up behind you. And then bring your knee to your nose. Try and actually give your knee a kiss. Send it straight back up behind you. And then folding your right leg through into pigeon pose. So we're going to bring your right knee behind your right wrist and right ankle kind of behind your left wrist. And then wiggle that left foot back. So it's more or less center on the mat and your hips come down as close to the floor as you can. Reasonably comfortably go. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine, and then exhale, walking yourself down. Let your forehead rest in either your hands, or a pillow if you got one close at hand, or the floor. I'm going to pause here and breathe. Big inhales, long exhales, just letting your body be as heavy as you can on the floor. And as you're breathing, try and visualize the muscles that are tight or providing resistance. And visualize them as something that melts. And as you exhale, they just kind of melt, become a little bit softer. Like ice cream. 2 more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, slowly walking yourself back up. Pausing for a moment at the top, take a look over one shoulder, gentle spinal twist. Take a look over your other shoulder. Coast is clear, nobody snuck into your room while you were in pigeon. It's always good to know. And then we'll curl under your back toes and make your way all the way back into your downward facing dog, taking your time to get there. Pausing for a moment to feel the difference from one side to the other. And then raising your left heel all the way up behind you. Floating your left knee to your left elbow, hovering above the ground for a moment. Send it straight back up behind you. Bring your left knee to your right elbow, crossing under your midline. Send it straight back up behind you. And bring your knee to your nose. Try and kiss your kneecap. Straight back up behind you. And then folding your left leg through into pigeon pose on the other side. So again, that left knee is kind of behind your left wrist. Left ankle sort of behind your right wrist. And then wiggling your right foot back until your hips get low down to the ground. Inhale, lengthen through your spine. And then exhale, walking yourself down to let your forehead rest on something. And we'll stay here for 5 long, slow, deep breaths. Doing that same mental exercise of just letting your body relax down into the pose. Whenever you're ready, you're going to slowly walk yourself back up. Pausing for a moment at the top. Take a look over one shoulder. Gentle spinal twist. Take a look over the other. Good times. And then rolling over onto your left bum cheek. And bring your right leg around in front of you. And scooting forwards on the front part of your mat, we're going to bring the soles of your feet together. And kind of walk your bum towards your heels as close as you can. And then flapping those butterfly wings like you're getting ready to take off, because it is springtime. Opening up the soles of your feet, massaging into the muscles into the arches of your feet. Jim, this might feel especially good for you, for all that running. Say hello to your toes. Hello, toes. Thanks for helping me keep balanced. And then clasping your feet with your hands. And inhale, lengthen through your spine. And then exhale, drawing your elbows out to the sides and letting your forehead come down towards your toes. Let's go. Inhale fully, exhale completely. And then leading with this heart, floating all the way back up. And release those toes, straighten out your legs, and we'll come to laying down flat on your back on the mat. So grabbing onto your ankles and posting your feet down on the floor so you can find your heels with your fingertips. And your heels are in line with your hips. We're going to push off your heels, raising your hips up towards the ceiling, pretty much as high as you can. So you're squeezing with your butt so strong that you feel a stretch across your hip flexors and the top of your thighs. You can stay here if you want to. Put a pillow under your lower back and relax for some sacral release. Or you can interlace your fingers and walk your elbows and your triceps towards each other and stack yourself up off the mat. If this feels good, you can stay here. If you want to take it even one step further, you can use your hands to support your lower back. Pick one foot after the other. to come into your shoulder stand. And all of these variations are good. If you do find yourself with your feet in the sky, you can do whatever you want with your legs up here. Splits, run in place, wiggle your toes. You can do it all. If your feet are up in the sky, we're going to bring your toes down to the floor behind you. And then straighten out your hands along the mat. And then roll down one vertebrae at a time. All the way down to the floor. If your hands are still clasped under your back, you can release them. If you have a pillow under your hips, you can take that away. Lovely. Hugging both knees into your chest, giving yourself a little rock side to side. And then grabbing onto the outside edges of your feet. You're going to pull your knees down either side of your body and really get weird for happy baby. So you can roll around, kind of straighten one leg if you want to, roll up on your shoulders, or you can just roll gently side to side and open up your hips. It's a good time just kind of listen to your body. Eventually hugging both knees back into your chest. And straightening out your right leg along the floor, pushing your right heel away from you. With your right hand, we're going to pull your left knee across your body and reach your left arm out to the side for a spinal twist. And like we did in pigeon, you're not really pushing here, you're just kind of letting gravity do its work. And you're letting your body be as heavy as it can be. So as you inhale fully and exhale completely, just kind of let your limbs become heavier. Stay here for 3 more breaths. Whenever you're ready, slowly making your way onto your back, hugging both knees into your chest. And straighten your left leg along the floor. With your left hand pulling your right knee across your body for spinal twist on the other side. Reaching your right arm out. And just breathe in here, let your limbs be heavy. And maybe noticing what happens when you inhale deeply. Then let all the air come out of you. Kind of feel it in your lower back and your spine. One last time, hugging both knees into your chest. Tucking your forehead up into your knees, making your body like a little itty bitty seed. And then straightening out your arms and legs into your Shavasana pose. Letting your hands rest down by your sides and your feet splay out open, your eyes closed. Take the next few moments just to rest in stillness and silence as you take in the full effect of your yoga practice. Wiggling your fingers and your toes, slowly bringing them back into your body. At your own pace, drawing the knees into your chest. Roll over onto your side and push yourself up into a sitting position. Letting your hands rest on your lap and your eyes close. We'll close today's practice how we started it. Just taking in a few breaths and noticing any changes that might have happened over the last 45 minutes. The depth of your breath or the quality of your breath. And then sending out a silent message of love and peace, patience, to everybody out there who could use it. Inhale, raising both hands up over your head. Exhale your hands into a prayer in front of your heart. We'll close today's practice with a heartfelt namaste. Namaste, everybody. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. I'll see you on Friday morning for core class. I'll go ahead and mute everyone.